We know there are things that we do we should not do, so stop. There's no more time. We don't have lifetimes anymore. Humanity moves in waves, like every other creature in nature, in waves. This humanity, this wave of humanity, is cresting. We have a limited window of opportunity for all these conscious elements to enter in physical bodies and reach their goal. And if they don't, the wave is absorbed back in the ocean. Our wave is being absorbed. We're out of time. Don't assume you're going to have another body. You probably won't. I know in my case, I do not. That's why I'm so zealous. I know from my own personal experience, out of my body, this is it. If I don't do it now, I'm going into the second death. No, there's no way for me to negotiate that anymore. So I can tell you from my own experience, this is absolutely true. And I know it. Some people have asked me, how come you're so zealous like a preacher? That's why. Because I know. Don't assume you have time. You don't. You don't even know how long you've got in this body. Right? Does anyone here know when they're going to die? I don't. So make the best use of every day. Die in yourself. Work on your ego. Be born in yourself. Cultivate good behaviors. Cultivate your inner spirit. Feed your consciousness with good things. Study the scriptures. Study yourself. Study nature. Nature is a great teacher. And third, sacrifice. Help other people. Don't live your whole life just feeding your desires. All the great masters don't do anything for themselves. They do everything for others. This is what we have to learn. This is what creates a golden age. When we serve sincerely and honestly to give to others, this is the greatest joy. It isn't just a stale hallmark phrase that giving is better than receiving. It is a fact. Giving is better. We're focused on receiving. We always want to get and get and get. Everything we do, we're always thinking, what am I going to get out of it? That's ego. Learn to become conscious. What can I give? What can I do? How can I contribute? That is what the Spirit in us wants. Those three factors of what put us in a position to receive help. Not only from our inner God, but from other masters, from other angels, from other beings who are here to help us. We are not alone here. I know the news in this lecture and the prophecies are very painful to hear. I feel that pain. When I read about the coming cataclysms and I watch the news and I see the earthquakes and tsunamis and I see the starvation and poverty and all the suffering on this planet, it hurts. But remember, we're not alone. Remember your Divine Mother. Remember your inner being. Continually. They will help. So you see, the moon was once a world like our Earth. It was called Selene. It was once a living place. It was once the home of a great humanity in a past age, in a past cosmic round. But that humanity unfortunately degenerated. They fell victim to desire. They did not have the capability, the capacity to transform themselves and to rise up. And they died. Their planet died. And that's what we see in our heavens now. A dead world. Lifeless. A corpse. A bone. Have you ever seen a bone? It is pale. It is dry. It is dead. That is the moon. It is a skeleton in the sky. When that world died, its essence, its core attributes gave rise to a new world, our planet Earth. This, of course, occurred over countless eons, a time span that would be inconceivable to us. But that new Earth, our planet, went also through its many ages, many races, many times of development, many civilizations. We are not the only one. We are one in a long chain. But unfortunately, we also are degenerating like the Selenites did. We also are not conquering desire. We're not able to sacrifice and rise up. Instead, we're sinking into the mud. The evidence is abundant. It is everywhere. What do we see on our planet related with virtue, related with qualities of spirit? We don't see a civilization that is improving, that is rising towards the light. We see a civilization that is trembling, that is shuddering in pain. What we need to observe here is a very intimate relationship between the humanoid creatures on the surface of the world and the world that they inhabit. The macrocosm and the microcosm are intimately related. You see, nature is in us as much as we are in nature. We don't like that. Somehow, inexplicably, we now have come to a stage in our civilization where we want to be divorced from nature. We scarcely touch nature anymore. We walk on artificial surfaces. We clothe and cover our bodies with artificial coverings. We scarcely touch the dirt, the soil, the grass. We scarcely see the sky. We've become divorced from our mother. And somehow we think we are separate from nature. That somehow we are masters and kings and queens of nature, when the evidence is clearly opposite. We are just victims of circumstances. We have no control, not only of ourselves, but of nature around us. We are very weak, even though we believe we are the most elevated civilization ever. The evidence is the opposite. Let us observe this civilization. What does it have to offer? Perpetual war? Increasing poverty and slavery? A rapid decline in the availability of pure water and real food? Nowadays, you can't go to any market and buy an actual tomato. You cannot. You go to any market, the fruit has been mixed with animal hormones. It is not a fruit. It is not a vegetable. It is a hybrid. It is a graft. It is an abomination. What about the rest of our food supply? The world depends on several primary crops: wheat, corn, soy, rice. None of these crops are the same crops that our grandparents ate. Not one of them. Every one of them now has been patented by a corporation. Every one of them now is no longer a diversity of seeds, a diversity of fruits or vegetables or grains. Most of the world's wheat crop, corn crop, soy, and rice come from one root, which has been modified by scientists. Which means that one crop, which is now worldwide, it only takes one disease to kill it. In the past, we had a great diversity of wheat varieties, corn varieties, soy varieties, and a disease could come and maybe wipe out a few crops in a few areas, and it'd be a minor famine. But no longer is this the case. Now a farmer cannot grow the crop that they choose. They have to get permission, and they have to pay a fee to the corporation that owns the patent. You might think I'm making this up, but I'm not. And this is the factor that's happening not only in North America, but it's spreading around the world. And those crops, genetically modified, scientifically engineered, are vulnerable. Right now, there is a wheat rust that's spreading up from Africa into the Middle East that the scientists are not able to control. And within a few years, it will probably produce a famine. And it could spread worldwide, and there's no antidote. It's killing the crop that they engineered. This danger is not just one crop, it's every one of these crops, all of them. All of our fruits, all of our vegetables are in danger of this type of situation. This is why the scriptures predict famines. The spread of starvation. What about our water? We can't go to this river and drink that water. We can't find a stream that we can drink from. Almost anywhere. Even in third world countries. Even in the countryside. Even in the mountains. The waters are impure. On the whole planet. We now have the worst water supply in our history. What about our air? It's impure. Everywhere in the world. Air is not isolated to one place. It moves around the planet. And it's carrying with it all kinds of impurities and pollutants and radioactive materials all over the planet. What about inside the earth? What about the earth itself? The soils everywhere are being depleted. Now, in order to grow crops in most places in the world, you have to pump the ground with chemicals. Otherwise, the earth cannot sustain growth. They've been depleted. They've been poisoned. And so these companies now have to pump enormous amounts of chemicals and fertilizers in order to grow anything. Our oceans are dying. The forests are dying. The earth is trembling. All of us are aware in recent days of a surge of earthquakes. And many people are afraid. Many people are dying. If you study the records that the scientists are keeping, you see a major earthquake every couple of days with increasing frequency. We see that in the 1990s, we averaged 50 to 60 major earthquakes a year. And by 2005, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we're over 1,000 a year. I have the data here if anybody wants to see it. It's not made up. Why is this? Let me ask you a question. If you were to see a person covered with disease, sick, dying, shaking with convulsions, what would you think would happen to him? What would you assume is going to happen? You would assume he's going to die. That's what's happening to our planet. Our planet is dying. No one wants to admit it, but the evidence is abundant. In the book Revolutionary Psychology, Samael stated that our exterior circumstances reflect our interior. And we make the mistake of thinking, if I can change my exterior life, I'll be happy. But we don't realize that everything that's happening around us is because of what we are inside. The city around us was made by us. God didn't make it. And we see, if we look in our cities, they are not ideal places to live. In fact, they're quite corrupt. They are like sores or wounds on the earth. If you look at Earth as a scientist from a distance and you see this beautiful planet, how radiant and lovely it is, but then you go in close and look at a city, it's horrible. It's like a boil or a bleeding wound on the earth from which is oozing pollution and garbage. Nothing good is coming out of it. Let me tell you a little secret too. Other planets don't have cities. We do. Let me explain a little bit about that, because it's something I didn't touch today because it's a big topic. It was just more about entropy. It's very hard to put into words, but if you understand what I was saying about transformation, that to rise, for us to sustain the body and become healthy, we have to eat good food, and that food has to die. If it's bad food, it will kill us. We know that. If you eat cardboard, you will die. But if you eat fruits and vegetables and things that are good for you, your body will nourish and grow and get healthy, like especially as a child. If you eat all garbage when you're a kid, you're going to be sick your whole life and weak. If you eat really good food, your body will grow in a very healthy way. The same is true spiritually, and the same is true on the planet. Entropy means nature tends towards disorder unless superior forces act and raise that system up. So it means that if you take a vessel of boiling water and a vessel of cold water, and you combine them, just mix them up, they will equalize each other, right? They will average out into nothingness. They won't have any distinction, no order amongst them. They will just flatten out. The same is true if you take salt and flour. If you take salt and flour and mix them, and you just shake that a little bit, they will mix up. They won't separate themselves naturally. They will mix and become equalized. That's what happens with a desert. That's what happened with the moon. All of those elements were being mixed. All the psychological and energetic and spiritual elements were being mixed, but without superior forces applied. So everything became equalized. Everything died. The example of the salt and flour, if you mix them consciously, with intelligence, you can make bread, right? If you apply heat, if you add water. If you add elements and produce a transformation, you can make something good. But if you don't do it intelligently, you'll make nothing, something inedible. But the same is true in nature as a whole. What this means is that humanity as a whole is not living intelligently. Without consciousness, we are completely asleep, ruled by desires who only want to feed themselves. In other words, there is no superior sacrifice being made. There are no virtues being cultivated. We're not eating good, we're not thinking good, we're not acting good. So as a result, the entire society is in decline. Cities are in decline. Countries are in decline. What is the end result? A desert. Complete disorder. Order has to be created consciously, cognizantly, through the sacrifice of superior elements in order to nourish. And you can get help from the Gnostic Church, which is not in a physical place. It is also inside. You can be completely alone out in the forest or the desert and enter the Gnostic Church. It's psychological. And the Gnostic Church is not just Christian. There are Buddhist Gnostic churches. There are Muslim Gnostic churches. Jewish, all over the world, trying to help us. Moreover, and what is probably most surprising to most of us, is that there are a lot of people from other planets trying to help us. We don't want their help. We keep shooting missiles at them. But they are trying to help, and they will help you if you ask for help. So the most serious, important thing is work daily in these three factors: birth, death, and sacrifice. Don't let a day go by. Each day is a mirror of your life. Each day reflects the entirety of your life. If you spend your whole day in foolishness, you're spending your whole life that way. Do what you can to spend some time every day working on yourself, and gradually work to increase that, and you will get a lot of benefit. Another question?